Hi, this is Dave Kingston from the Leinster Clinic Biomechanics Lab in Maynooth, County Kildare, Ireland, and this is a quick tutorial on plantar fasciitis. Hopefully by the end of this you'll understand a little bit more about plantar fasciitis. Plantar fasciitis is probably the most common foot and ankle biomechanical condition. It is a mechanical condition. You may have only got the pain in your heel recently, but because of the way you move over years and years and years of standing, walking, running, you've actually put stress on the foot that has led to this problem, and it's only recently that the problem has elevated to painful condition. It's just a quick myth. You don't have to have a heel spur to get plantar fasciitis, and you don't have to have plantar fasciitis when you do in fact have a heel spur. There's very little correlation between the two. Now, plantar fascia itself is connective tissue. It's very similar to tendon and ligament, and it's the connective tissue that connects the heel bone to the big toe joint. For an analogy, think of the foundation of a bridge or an arch. It's basically the part at the bottom that controls the support. Because it's connective tissue, it's got a limited flexibility. It is flexible, but there's a range at which it stops being flexible and becomes rigid. It's got a shock absorbing function, so when you stand or walk and your arch needs to come down, the plantar fascia is part of the mechanism that will help control some of that. It's very important in pronation. Now, pronation is a misunderstood concept. A lot of people just think pronation is flat feet, and it's not. It's a combination of an internal rotation of the shin, an inward roll of the heel bone, and there are other foot movements. So it is complicated. It's not as simple as just your foot rolling over. Pronation leads to stretching of the plantar fascia. So as you can see from this diagram here, the heel bone is rolled in, the shin bone has twisted to the inside, and the foot looks like it's got a flat position as we look from behind. Now, when we overpronate, i.e. do this movement too much, not only do we get an appearance of a flatter looking foot, but we also overstretch the plantar fascia. And over a long term, this builds up stress on the plantar fascia itself. Here's what happens when we get plantar fasciitis. You can see the red mark. That's inflammation near the insertion or at the insertion of the heel bone. It's most painful in the morning because when you go to bed, you actually relax and the plantar fascia tightens up. So this tight plantar fascia you then put to the floor, and all of a sudden there's a jerking movement as your foot rolls over, and this nice tight plantar fascia pulls aggressively on its attachment, and that reinvigorates the inflammation at the site of the plantar fasciitis. Ways that we can reduce the pain of plantar fasciitis? Well, stretching of the plantar fascia itself. Now, it's important not to do it too much or too aggressively, but basically you're just trying to get the plantar fascia's tightness out as best you can so that it's more flexible when you do put your foot to the ground. Now, sometimes it's important to include stretching of the Achilles tendon as well, because the condition that actually led to your foot not needing to roll down may in fact be a tightness of the Achilles tendon or even your hamstrings. But stretching of the Achilles tendon can play an important role in helping with plantar fasciitis pain. But the main thing we need to do is more than likely address the biomechanical causes. If we don't go back to the origin of the problem, well, the plantar fasciitis pain is not going to go away with just stretching or icing or any other technique. We really have to look at the reasons why the plantar fasciitis is there in the first place. And 9 times out of 10, that's because you're biomechanically putting yourself into a position to cause the plantar fasciitis. Now, the ways that we do this: custom foot orthotics. Basically, we need to control the, for want of a better word, bad biomechanics that leads to the stretch on the plantar fasciitis. There are numerous ways that this can happen, or numerous reasons why this happens, but the end result is plantar fasciitis. What we're looking to do is reduce those pronation forces, and we want to relieve stresses and forces applied to the plantar fascia during gait. It can be standing, walking, or running. Hopefully that explains plantar fasciitis a bit more clearly. It is one of the most misunderstood conditions that we deal with in biomechanics. And if you're in Ireland and you'd like to discuss a bit more about your heel pain, then you can contact me on 01 505 2130 and make an appointment, or you can get more information on the website www.footorthotics.ie. Thank you.